Take action or die on today's episode.
Today's episode is brought to you by FreshBooks. Accounting and bookkeeping mistakes destroy thousands of small businesses every single day. Bookkeeping doesn't have to be hard. Turn to the #1 invoicing software for small businesses. Start for free today at servenomaster.com/FreshBooks.
Are you tired of dealing with your boss? Do you feel underpaid and underappreciated? If you want to make it online, fire your boss and start living your retirement dreams now, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Serve No Master Podcast, where you'll learn how to open new revenue streams and make money while you sleep. Presented live from a tropical island in the South Pacific by best-selling author Jonathan Green. Now, here's your host.
When failure is an option, when it's an acceptable result, it becomes almost inevitable. When we decide that we're going to try something, but if it doesn't work out, so what? The not working out becomes a more and more likely result. And I don't want that to happen to you. Procrastination, hesitation, getting stuck in the decision-making process, that will destroy you. And I want to share with you exactly how taking action can lead to success. Oftentimes, when I'm negotiating with someone I want to do a project with, I only try to do projects with people that are making 10 times more money than me. I don't really have any interest in working with someone on the same level as me. How's that going to help me? I don't want to grow at the same level. I want to explode. And I'll be in negotiations or talking to someone who's at the same level as me. And there's not much that we can do because we're at the same level. But when I'm talking to someone 10 levels higher, how can I get them to want to work with me? And what separates me from anyone else is that I take action. And I can tell you right now that most of the people that I work with who succeed are action takers. It's the people who constantly are working that do really, really well. See, the reason I'm successful is not luck. It's not magic. It's that I work 7 days a week. I'm constantly looking for new ways to grow my business. I'm constantly reaching out to people and finishing projects and coming up with ideas and implementing. Most people, when you give them a big opportunity, it doesn't matter how big the opportunity is, will blow it. 99% of people will blow every opportunity that comes their way. And here's what happens. I'm going to take you through some specific examples. I've worked with people in the past and given them a very simple roadmap to success, and then they skipped a few steps. A couple episodes ago, we talked about a book launch. We talked about how you have to do each little step. And someone will just skip the review phase. They're like, I don't really feel like doing that. And then when the process doesn't work, they're surprised. Will your car work if it's only got 3 wheels? It might. Actually, I don't know if a car can ride on 3 wheels. Maybe it'll scrape a lot, but it'll still run a little bit. But that's what you're really doing when you skip a step or when you don't finish something. Every little piece of the implementation process is critical, and we go through every day thousands of moments where we can decide to take action or not take action. I noticed last night, actually, about me. I got a couple of new video games recently that I like, and my daily balance isn't where I want it to be because I'll play the video game when I finish all my work and the kids go to sleep, and I'm going to sleep a little bit later, which means I'm not getting up as early in the morning, and it was affecting my podcast recording schedule and affecting the rest of my day. So I was like, I got to cut back down on this. I'm noticing a negative entering my life, even though it's really fun and the game is pleasant and I like playing the game and all that stuff. That's pure entertainment. And I don't want to spend too much of my day on pure entertainment, especially when it's not with my kids or in the ocean. I'd rather be spending time in the ocean with the kids and paddleboarding or kayaking, things like that. We have to constantly self-assess because even when you're successful, and I'm pretty successful, I live on a tropical island, I have my dream life. Little things can creep in if we just think, I'm done, I don't have to self-check anymore. So we have all these decisions throughout the day. Every time you decide what you're going to do. Am I going to go to the bathroom? Am I going to go eat dinner? Am I going to walk upstairs or downstairs? Am I going to watch a movie? All these little things, right? These little decisions are absolutely critical because they add up to how you spend your entire day. I have a project that I've approached probably 15 people with. I dabbled with an idea that my friend mentioned to me, and I put in about an hour on it, and it made money. It was profitable. It's the fastest way I've ever made money online, the easiest way. And I've now approached probably 15 people to work with me on it. I say, hey, I've got the software, I've got the know-how, I've got the resources. All you have to do is implement these simple steps. And the software does 90% of the work. You just have to implement the step, then you have to check the software's work. And if you put in an hour a day, you'll start making a couple $1,000s a month the first month. And it's interesting to me to watch everyone not do it. Everyone just go, nope, no thanks. And what happens is we get distracted, one person will stop responding to me and I won't hear from them. We'll talk once or twice. I'll show them everything. They're so excited. People always say, oh, give me a chance. Work with me. I'm an action taker. Everyone says they're an action taker. No one admits that they're a quitter. And so it's interesting to me. I show someone something and I say, okay, show me your work. I'll check it tomorrow. And then I come back tomorrow and they haven't done anything. And 3 days later, they're like, oh, I'm just about ready to get started. And I think in English, that's the phrase I hate the most. I'm just about ready to get started. Like I'm just preparing. Because I know when I say that to someone, it means I was working on something else that I thought was more important. That's what it really means. It means I had something else I would rather be doing. Now, people have a variety of reasons why they don't take action, and I don't begrudge anyone that, okay? Sometimes it's a medical reason, a health reason, a family reason, you have a problem at work or you lose your job, other things happen, but it doesn't matter because either you're an action taker or you're not. If someone approaches me and said, I'm desperate for money, I say, fine, here's something you can do and you'll start making money very quickly. And then they don't do it because they're not an action taker. They're just have a different mindset. And most people are meant to work in offices, and that's absolutely fine. But I don't want that for you. I want a better life for you. I want you to become someone who starts and finishes projects. The longer it takes you to complete an action, the more likely you are to fail. And it's like a parabola. It's like a rocket ship heading to the moon. When you look at the graph for how long it takes to start to how likely someone is to fail. I'm a big believer in taking immediate action. The day one of my friends said, stop being a coward, put up a Facebook ad, I spent the entire day doing it. And I wanted to get it live the same day, but I just got worn out. I got 90% of the way there and the ad was live the next day. It took me one extra day. And to me, that was like a barrier because I like to get something done the same day I say it. I like to start on a project immediately. Some people really like to meander, and for them, a project can take 6 months. And that is a problem because the way your brain thinks, your brain only responds to short-term results. That's why people smoke. That's why people overeat. That's why people make poor decisions because we don't do long-term thinking. Our brains aren't designed that way. We're designed to focus on short-term over long-term. We'll always choose short-term pleasure over long-term health. You need to change the way you think about things and become someone who starts and finishes projects. If you can actually start and finish, if you can take action and do anything I tell you to do, then you will become an online millionaire. That's the only prerequisite. And more I'm discovering as well through my internship program and some other things I do is that the generation behind us, they don't have that mindset at all. This is why I've shifted from working with people younger than me to working with people older than me. I find that millennials, and yes, I'm a millennial, I'm the oldest you can be and still be a millennial. I found out when I looked online recently. When I looked online, I discovered that Generation Y, I grew up knowing of myself as Generation Y. For some reason, they changed it to calling people my age millennials. So I'm the oldest of the millennials. I'm 1 year too late to be a Gen Xer. They changed it, but it was Generation Y for like 20 years. I don't know why you get to change it like at the end of it, but whatever. So I'm millennial. And I noticed that millennials have this mindset of, I don't want to work hard. I don't finish projects. I just want things handed to me. It's very much a lazy mindset. And I was like that in my early 20s too. So that's how I know I'm a millennial. I was lazy as hell when I was younger. I didn't really get serious about business until I was around 29. So I get it. But I'm noticing more and more people now are shifting to this, I want to post a picture on Instagram and get paid $10,000 mindset. And yeah, I would love if it was that way. What this means, it's two things. It means most people are lazier right now, but it also means the opportunities are on the rise because action takers are becoming more and more rare. Now, most people can go to an office, complete any tasks their boss gives them, and then come home. They can handle that. But without the boss there, without the paycheck there, the fixed number paycheck, they don't have the ability to self-motivate. And I want you to think about how you can alter your approach to life to become an action taker, to become a trigger puller. Because if you can flip that switch within yourself, you are literally unstoppable. I never really have to worry about money ever again for the rest of my life because I know that no matter what happens, I'll find a way to make something happen. Because every time my back is against the wall, I'll take any job I have to. I worked with someone 2 years ago who was struggling. And I was living back at home after college, and that's what everyone wants to do now. That seems to be the cool thing to do. Go away to college, spend $250,000 of your parents' money, then move back in. It really shows you how great college is these days, right? So this is someone who moved back in at home and only wanted one type of job. And in a year, he got one interview for that type of job and didn't get it. And I was like, here's 20 other ways you can do stuff to make money fast. And he said, I don't want to do any of those things. Those are beneath me. That mindset, that pride will destroy you. He's like, I don't want to do ghostwriting. I don't want to write blog posts for anyone else. I don't want to write a book for anyone else. I only want to do one thing. And that is not my mindset. I'll tell you right now that if I need to pay a bill, I'll take any project I can get my hands on. I don't care. I'm in a business, not in an ego building seminar. But younger people, I guess every generation compares about the younger people, even though it's my generation. Escape that mindset. Stop thinking that certain projects are beneath you or that you don't want to work on certain things. Stop starting things that you don't finish or stop feeling to start things. All of those little problems are going to just kill you. I was very nervous about starting this podcast. And then I thought, how will I come up with ideas for episodes or how I do this and that? But once I started it, it became easy. It's not hard for me anymore. I've already done over 100 episodes and I'm well on my way to shooting to 200, 300, 500 episodes. I want to have lots and lots of content out there so that when someone finds me, they have so much content to go through. They don't go find someone else. I want people to become addicted to me, form a relationship with me, connect with me in a deep and meaningful way. That's really, really important to me. And that's why I create so much content. And that's why I take so much action. I want to demonstrate to you the key step to success. And I've shared in previous episodes and previous blog posts and other places, lots of different ways that I self-motivate and overcome depression. But today I realized, and I want to share with you, that you have to do it yourself. You have to find your own way to become a trigger puller. If you're sitting there and you're thinking, I could work on this project, or I could go hang out with my friends, or I could go watch a movie, that decision calculus will always favor doing the lazier thing because it's easier. Man, I would rather be playing a video game right now. Are you kidding me? Of course I would. I'd rather be surfing right now. The weather's perfect. So you have to do things that you don't really want to do in the short term in order to achieve long-term benefit. Finding your motivation is key. Now, some people that I work with, some people that I know, you already have a lot of full-time work going on. You're very, very busy. So it's hard to bring in the time to work on your side projects. And that's where we start. When you first start online, it's a side project. If you're working 14-hour days, 6 days a week, yeah, it's really, really hard to start working on a side project, to find an extra 10, 20 hours a week to work on online stuff. But you just got to figure out what you want to do. Because when you separate yourself from the crowd, when you demonstrate that you're a trigger puller, when you begin to take those critical actions, people will notice. I talk a lot about networking in some previous episodes. I talk a lot about my Networking Empire course. And one of the core things that I share inside that course, one of the core principles that I want to share with you right now is that if you can demonstrate that you will accomplish any task put in front of you, then your success is inevitable. People will work with you all the time. This is the mindset that separates special forces guys from regular soldiers and from everyone else. There's no obstacle that you can put in front of a special forces guy that he won't look for a way to overcome it. That's the mindset that, and this is a good question, do people start off with that mindset and that's who succeeds through the training, or do they build that mindset within the people? I don't know. But either way, guys that make it across the finish line and become special forces guys, whether it's Navy SEALs or SAS, SBS, any of those programs, Force Recon, those guys face unbelievable physical and mental challenges and overcome. And that mindset is everything. Anytime you see an obstacle in front of you, you have two choices. You can say, this is a reason to quit, or this is something that I will overcome and create opportunity. A year and a half ago, a lot of people that were doing Amazon at the same time as me got in trouble. Amazon deleted all of their positive reviews because it turned out they had tons and tons of fake reviews. And even the person who was my Amazon coach at the time doesn't do Amazon anymore because that was his whole business model. And I saw everyone going out of business, and I thought to myself, I got two choices right now. I can go out of business, I can lose all my books, lose all my investment, or I can adapt and overcome. And that's why if you look through old podcast episodes, you look through previous blog episodes, I share with you dozens of ways to get reviews. I said, I'm going to find every possible way to get reviews. And that's what I do. I'm constantly looking for new and dynamic ways to generate reviews for my books. I said, I don't want to do gray hat, black hat, any of that stuff. I want to find lots and lots of ways to get legitimate reviews so that I can grow, and that when these people leave the market, I can take their position. I can take over their spot. And that's really, really what's been happening. And that's why my business is thriving with all those other people. 90% of the people in the same business as me went out of business. When the going gets tough, the competition disappears. That's why I'm really excited about what's happening with blogs right now. I'm really excited what's happening with podcasts. I'm very fascinated. I listen to some really popular podcasts, and they let slip all these ones I listen to. I'm like, oh, I wish I had that listenership. And all of them have full-time day jobs. They're working as painters or construction workers or doing other full-time stuff because they don't know how to build a business. They don't know how to monetize. They have a massive audience that generates them almost no revenue. They're bringing in $500 a month that they got to split 6 ways. What good is that? No one can live on $75 a month in the West. Don't get caught up in the wrong thing. Remember that we're building a business here and that the entire cycle is what's important. You don't just want to succeed in one area. You don't just want to have a popular podcast. You don't just want to have this or that. What you want is a full business. And what I like about noticing that blogs and podcasts I compete with aren't making money, it means that's an opportunity for me, that I can compete with them because I know how to build the business part as well. So this is why many, many blogs are going out of business. Recently, just very recently, one of the largest newspapers in the country sent out a big email to everyone asking for donations. They're no longer able to self-sustain. That means you're not a business. If you have to get donations to stay open, you're not a business, okay? And you're not a real charity, so it's ridiculous. I would never do a donation to a newspaper. If a newspaper can't stay in business, then it can't stay in business. It's the business of the business. The same thing is happening for blogs all over the place, magazines and podcasts. All of these different businesses, they don't make that much money. And that means that they don't last. A lot of the really big blogs out there are struggling. Their margins are becoming razor thin. Their entire business model is about getting clicks and getting people to see ads. And as people ignore those ads and they get less clicks, they stop making money. And I see all of that and I say, this is a chance for me to take action. So when you combine the knowledge and wisdom that I pour into you with action taking and completing actions, there are tons of opportunities online. To circle back to the core message, there are opportunities because everyone else is running into obstacles and quitting. And that means there's more obstacles for you. Be someone who takes action, who sees an obstacle as an opportunity, says this obstacle is going to trip everyone, but I can find a way around it. When you have that mindset, you become unstoppable. When you have that mindset, I want to work with you more and more and more. That makes me want to share with you more material, help you get to the next level because I love action takers. What I want more than anything else is to have dozens of people leave glowing testimonials and talk about how they built an amazing business. That to me is gold. And that's what I want for you. And the core difficulty people run into is that they don't start or they don't finish projects. Now, the reason we don't start is because we say I need lots and lots and lots of information. And this has been a barrier for me in certain areas. Whenever I feel uncomfortable about something, and Facebook ads has always made me nervous. Even one of my friends talked about it 4 years ago. And because I was nervous, I hesitated. I've watched hundreds of hours of training on Facebook videos, and I've still felt a little bit confused. And I realized I'm really only going to learn by doing. And I'm lucky. I'm in a position where I have lots of friends who will look at my ads and kind of give me some feedback, who are very successful. So I don't have to worry about being unable to get feedback or unable to get results. It's just this dumb fear that's held me back. So we get caught up in this paralysis of analysis. I need more information before I take action. I want to choose the perfect book topic for my first book. Look, my first book tanked. My first book, I paid $800 to have someone write it. Way too much money. I put a lot of effort into it. And the first month, it took me 2 years after I paid that $800 before I released the book. I paid $800, then I waited 2 years, then I finally released the book, and I worked really, really hard on that first book. It made around $100. The first month, it made around $100, $700 in the hole. 2 years later, that book is now a massive success. It's number one in its category. It was a failure for a very long time. I have to check the numbers now. It might still be negative. I might not have made back. I have to check the exact numbers. I think that it went positive. It's only been positive for about 5 or 6 months now, but I turned it around. But it was a failure for a year and a half. People forget that, and I want you to see that. There was 18 months where I was looking at a book that lost me $700, almost nothing to show for it. That's a great opportunity to quit. I waited too long to release the book. Then when I finally did it, I did it wrong because I didn't know what I was doing. Made a lot of mistakes because my very first Amazon coach gave me some, let's just say, inferior advice or advice that wasn't actionable enough, didn't have all the pieces. So I had these failures, and I could say, this is a reason to quit, this is a reason to quit, this is a reason to quit. It's not. I want you to see that if you continue to fight, that's when amazing things can happen. You can find amazing opportunity. It's about overcoming obstacles because there will be failures on the path to success. It's about overcoming failures, not being afraid of failure, not letting paralysis lead to inaction. The reason we don't finish projects is we decide that we're going to fail. We reach this moment where we go, you know what, it's probably not going to work anyways. When you have that thought, you need to shut it down because that thought is garbage. It's probably not going to work anyways is the reason 90% of the people fail at 90% of the things they try to do. If you can shut down that one thought and go, you know what, I'm going to finish it and just see what happens. Let that be your mindset. I just want to see what happens. I want to know if it's going to succeed or fail. And you'll succeed. It might not be your first book. It might not be your second book. Like me, it might take you a couple of books, but that's okay. Look at me. No one looks at me and says, Jonathan's a failure. No one looks at me and says, oh, that guy had a product launch fail. That guy had a book fail. No one looks at those things. My first endeavors in most areas were abysmal failures, but we learned from them. And being willing to step out there and being willing to risk yourself, that's really what makes you successful. So be willing to take action. Push yourself, however you have to motivate. And when you do that, that's when you'll start to have really great opportunity because you'll separate yourself from the crowd. So not only will you start to make money, not only your projects start to succeed, people that are very successful want to partner with you. If I could find 10 people who would do anything I say, complete any action I say, and put in the effort I say, I could be making $1 billion within 12 months. That's how rare people are that take action. I'm even aware that 90% of the people who listen to this podcast are going to listen to it, be motivated for 2 days, and then forget about it. That's just how we are. That's the reality of humans, and I understand that. That's the human condition. All I can do is endeavor and beg you to really become someone who takes massive action because it will unlock your destiny. If you're a trigger puller, if you keep pushing, you'll achieve massive success. I'm going to end today's episode with one story about me. When I went to high school, you have to take a foreign language. You either have to take 3 years of Latin or 2 years of Latin and 2 years of another language. So I chose 3 years of Latin. And I was in Latin 1 honors. And then I can't remember when it happened, but they kicked me out of the honors program. They said, oh, you're too dumb at Latin. And I either took Latin 2 regular or Latin 3 regular. At one point, they knocked me out of honors because Latin was so hard. I had this teacher my junior year who I would describe as insanely mean. He would say things like, Jonathan, why are you so stupid? Why don't you know the answer? But if you came to school early, if you came to school 30 minutes early, he would help you with your homework while hurting your feelings. So I would be like, I don't understand number 4. What's the answer number 4? Help me with it. He goes, Jonathan, how can anyone be this dumb? Surely you're not this dumb. You go to a really good school. How can anyone dumb enough not to know number 4 be going to the school? It doesn't make sense. And I would suffer through this verbal abuse, and he would eventually tell me the right answer. And I came into school early every day, 5 days a week for the entire school year. And like many schools for millennials, at the end of the year, they give away tons and tons of awards. And some schools give away 2 or 3. My school they try to give an award to almost every student. Needless to say, my first 2 years there, I didn't get any awards. 90% of the students get awards. The 10% that don't always includes me. I'm just one of those guys that wasn't athletic enough or popular enough to get an award. But my junior year, this year, where I had to go in every morning and let someone hurt my feelings to get a good grade, I got the Latin 3 award. I got the award for the best grade in the entire school for this class. Now, was I the best student at Latin? Of course not. Did I have the best natural ability? Hell no. Was I going to take Latin 4? Don't be insane. I got the best grade because I realized what I had to do. See, most people would say, I don't want my teacher being mean to me. Or they would complain, hey, this teacher's mean, fire him, right? That's everyone else's mindset. My mindset was, all the other students in my class are weak. They can't handle this teacher being mean, so they won't go in and get help. But I can handle it. And if I can handle it, I get the best grade and I win, and I did. So that's a little story about me overcoming something, and I haven't thought about that in 20 years. It was 20 years ago that this happened. Whenever you see an excuse for failure, realize that most people see the same excuse. And if you can overcome that and switch into your success mindset, you'll become massively successful. And instead of just getting a good grade in Latin, I got the best grade. I got a medal. I don't have a medal anymore. It fell off my jacket one day. But that's what's possible. You can get what you want. You can unlock the life you deserve, the life of you dream of. You can live on a tropical island. You can live on a snowboarding mountain. You can live in the house of your dreams. If you become someone who starts and finishes projects, no matter what it takes. That's the power of taking action. And that's really your choice. You can take action or you can die.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Serve No Master. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. We'll be back tomorrow with more tips and tactics on how to escape that rat race. Head over to servenomaster.com/podcasts now for your chance to win a free copy of Jonathan's bestseller, Serve No Master. All you have to do is leave a 5-star review of this podcast. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Serve No Master podcast. Follow me at facebook.com/serve no master.